Thank you, Marshall.
All right.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the February 7, 2024 CalPads Q&A. My name is Paul Higgins. I'm a data analyst working in CSIS supporting CalPads. As we get started, let's go ahead and take care of some general housekeeping. As Marshall mentioned, please hover over your name in the participants list to make sure that your first name, last name, and LEA or organization is represented there. After we get through the announcements, I'm going to ask that you please write your questions in the chat box. Please label your questions Q1, Q2, Q3, etc. So that way we can hit all the Q1s and go back and hit all the Q2s and above as time allows. Let's see. If you have a CalPads service desk ticket open and are working with a service agent, please keep it between you and your agent right now. We don't want to muddy the waters and add something that's not in the ticket and just make it more difficult to get it resolved. If your question requires a lot of background or contextual setup or is just generally long, this probably isn't the greatest venue for it, and we'd ask that you open a CalPads service desk ticket. Let's see. For announcements, I'm going to keep it simple. The 2023-2024 Fall 2 submission will close on March 1st, Friday, March 1st. There is no amendment window to follow. This is the deadline. So right now, looking at our numbers in the background, we're, as a state, not doing well. I'm going to ask that everybody step up and help your neighbors if you're already certified. If you're not already certified and you got errors, please work on those errors, prioritize them. If you're error-free, start being a bug in somebody's ear, making sure that they are reviewing those reports and getting ready to give you the go-ahead to certify. Angela, how are we doing on builds, bugs, etc.? And do you have anything for the group?
I don't have anything to add to what you talked about, Paul, other than the known issues are up to date with the release from yesterday.
Excellent. Thank you. Sean, are you good? Or do you have anything for the group?
I am good. Thank you.
All righty. So with that, I'm going to jump over to the chat box. And let's see what we got here. All right. Starting at 3:01, Shelley, Q1. Good afternoon. Question from my admin that I can't find in any of the documentation. What does the P stand for on the 1.0 schools expected report? I think that the questioning the fact that I created a school called private school when we thought we were going to have a sped student at a charter in our district, but that never happened. And that school is showing up in the 1.0 now every year. The P is permitted but not expected, if I recall the key correctly. It's yes is expected, no is not or not allowed, and P is permitted but not expected. And as for private school, if it's coded with the 0000002, that'll be the private school group for your LEA, which is ubiquitous and it's universal throughout CalPads for all LEAs. So if you created a local school, the only time it would show up here is if you went through CDDs ODSS application, actually submitted it as an actual school and went through the process for reporting, then it would end up here eventually. I think that what you're seeing is just the generalized ubiquitous private school group reporting listed under the 00002 School of Attendance Code. All righty. That's the AI bot is sorry?
I don't know who's driving.
It's
oh yeah, thank you,
Alex.
Alex, can we also show them the report guides in the user manual? So that has the listings of everything for each report.
I don't know if the 1.10A is part of it.
Okay.
No, we don't have a mapping guide for that.
No problem. Thank you.
And apparently, Marshall, the AI bot at 3:01 is begging to not be suppressed. So, please pay attention to that. I would hate to, wake up with a virtual horse head in the bed or something.
Yeah, well, we can't let those AI bots get in there and pull stuff automatically. We have to make sure that what's being pulled is actually correct.
Moving on to 302, Wendy Guerrero Q1. Do attributes need to be filled out for all incidents? I thought it was only just for special ed. Attributes. Well, I'm not sure exactly what an attribute here is here, and that's going to be the key to answering this. So incidents are reported for anybody who has committed a statutory offense, and the disciplinary result is, posted, and you, as for sped, then yeah, you do have to identify them as sped, and all sped disciplinary incidents need to be reported. And what's the rule with the physical restraint? Even if there's no incident, it still has to be reported?
Yes.
Okay.
Even if it's not tied to an offense. And also it's for any student, gen ed or students with disability. Restraint and seclusion should be reported for those.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, they should, and not just with a suspension offense. A suspendable offense, it should be reported, just period. Thanks, Alex.
All right, going down to 302. Synonym? I'm at a loss. I apologize. Q1, for the enrolled in U.S. school less than 3 cumulative years, would it be a yes if they left the country and returned? Less than 3 cumulative years. Can you pull up the definition? Thank you. All right, so the definition is an indication of whether the student has been enrolled in the U.S. school for less than 3 cumulative years. A Y would indicate that a student has been enrolled for less than 3 years, and N would indicate the student has not. Student got equal to. Sean, I got nothing on this one. Is if they come in, start school, leave the country, and come back, what does the clock start ticking again, or how do we work that?
So it doesn't start ticking, but then it does continue. So there's a pause, and then there's a continuation for it. So if the student, again, knowing when to populate this indicator for the yes or the no, is again only if the student is born outside of the U.S. or the U.S. territories. Yes, thank you, Alex. And then also so if the student were to leave and go to another country, then that calculation then pauses and then it resumes, and then you should be able to turn it off, mark the no then, once that student has reached their 3 years. This is something that a lot of LEAs don't necessarily do either.
It's the cumulative is the key word, right, Sean?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Cumulative is the key word, right? It's the sum of their total time in the U.S.
Yes, that's correct. So that's why it can pause, but it doesn't just get like turned off. I understand that it's cumulative, but yeah, the whole sum of it. Thanks, Angela.
Teamwork.
Right, thank you both. All right. Mara 301 Q1. We are considering allowing our schools read-only access to CalPads. How common is it for the bigger districts to allow individual schools read-only access? What are the best practices in doing this, and what are the pros and cons?
So I'm going to answer this one from an LEA perspective, both large and small. Remember, key, that there is a CalPads application that you fill out. Okay, so for every LEA, we only allow 2 CalPads access rights. The rest of them have to be controlled locally. Okay, and so should you have some type of process for that? Yes. How are you tracking that information? How are you giving this access out? because that does fall under the LEA responsibility. So that documentation should be thought out and created locally first and foremost. Okay, at my own LEA, I even created an application that needed to be signed off by their supervisor. Sometimes that supervisor was me. But I was then also responsible for making sure that I closed that record out. Say if that employee no longer needed access either to CalPads or they were no longer with our organization. The second part of the question is, are there like best practices for these? Not so much from a CalPads perspective. I'm pretty sure that there are lots of LEAs here, though, that would be willing to kind of share their internal process with you, though. Think, pair, share, tap a friend, all of those. Okay.
Hey, Sean, when you were doing your security audits, how often did you do that? Was it an annual thing, a biannual thing? How often did you do yours?
Security audits happened every day.
Okay.
Because if I had a employee that had access to CalPads and those rights needed to be removed, they needed to be removed quickly. So yes, so that was every day, but that also went in alignment with our SIS system. And so again, these are data practices that you want to have codified internally in some type of manual. So just in case, just like Paul's question, if that's a question that does arise, you have somewhere where you can go to and it's documented and you know exactly which procedures to be able to follow. Okay, but it's not just you all. For data team, that involves an HR team as well too, or a personnel team that's going to be able to tell you this staff member is no longer with us. Please remove their access.
I think, Mara, another consideration would be you are responsible providing the CalPad support to those users.
Yes.
So something to think about, that a district of your size, San Diego Unified, and you give 100 people access, that's 100 people you have to support. So just something to consider.
Yes, and to Angela's point, because if that person puts in a CalPads ticket, we are normally going to relocate them or reassign them right back to you to ask for your assistance.
And it pains me to do that. We don't like doing that, but we just
yeah.
we do not have the resources to support everybody. So we have to be, careful, selective about who we allow in.
Yes. And so I also did what I called a CalPads and coffee training. And if anybody is here from an old LEA and wants to tell me how often I did those, that would be great. I want to say they were weekly, but they might have been bi-weekly as well too. So my point is that there is work that goes into this. It's not something I would just do on the fly. It's something that I would, again, make sure that I have a data practice for, and that's written. So it's a team collaboration that I would do first and foremost, and then filter down from there.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, moving on to Amber at 302 Q1. We have a student that was attending in a neighboring district, came to us for 1 day, then returned to them. This is now making a CCE. Is there a way to resolve this without the other district exiting and re-entering them a day later? Yes, the simplest possible way, well, two things. You could code your enrollment as secondary or short term, so 20 or 30. Or if you think that there's a conflict on that day, you can N470 them. But I would not recommend that one. I would prefer it to be a 20, so you subordinate your enrollment to the primary one, and that continuous enrollment under the primary enrollment just continues right on along. Soraya 303 Q1, should LIP or lunch programs be reported for NPS students? I don't recall off the top of my head. Let's find out. Give us just a minute. We will find that.
Trying to think if we have an FAQ on that or just
That was going to be my thought too.
we have an error code that would trigger or at least the lip, I think.
All right, we're still working on it. We're all going through a bunch of stuff right now. I'm searching the FAQs. Alex is searching documentation.
I think it's slip 146 or 164.
Oops.
No?
Oops.
Okay, a meal program should be reported for them, but I can't tell you if a lip. I thought it
think-
was a yes.
Yeah, because looking at and this is the old cert. What, Kyron, you said the CDD. What was it?
Oh, the CDD? Let me double check.
That's okay. I'll look for it too. Because I don't think that the logic for the validation is excluding NPS. So I think it's just looking at
Yeah, since
any.
it is associated to the EL rule of primary, secondary, and 30. So if a student, and of course TK to 12. So if the
Mhm.
student meets those criteria, regardless of where the student is, it may trigger that error.
Yeah.
Nathan 317 added a note below it saying NPS students have primary enrollments. All programs that students are eligible for and participate in should be reported. So then there's that. I hadn't even taken into account the primary enrollment status, but you are correct in that statement. All right. So we're looking at. All right. Are we moving on, or are we still going to pursue this?
Thought we answered.
Okay, making sure. Just wanted to make sure, like I said. Rebecca 303 Q1, any updates on a fix for report 4.3? I have principals and HR staff anxiously awaiting to review their data.
Thank you, Rebecca, for having the staff waiting.
That's the one that's showing the current and prior year.
Yes.
I thought I heard the DBA mention that one this morning. Do you guys recall? He may have just started on that one. So Tuesday would be the soonest we would get that one in.
All right. So we're hoping, but we have no definitive answer for you. Moving on to Rebecca 302. Q1, do we need to concern ourselves that data discrepancy errors pertaining to SPED data listed under Fall 1 will impact us for end of year 4, or only if they appear under DD for EOI 4? The DDs, CDDs are still being developed for end of year 4. So hopefully we can avoid many of the same problems we had with Fall 1. Hopefully they'll get repaired in the coming months. So that way, they are not vexing us moving into end of year 4, but that, potentially does exist for us depending on how things go. But hopefully things will go much smoother since we've already done it once and we can now replicate it and hopefully get the logic right. but I would not anticipate that the same fall 1 errors are still going to be in effect for end of year 4 if we have the ramp up time to fix them, which I believe we do.
May I add to that, Paul?
Absolutely.
Just because it's fresh on my mind, because I was helping somebody with that this morning, where she had one that showed up for fall 1 after they had certified, and it was because new data had been introduced. But I did check EOI, and it's triggering there as well. It was one of the newer sped errors, so it is triggering in both. So it eventually will show up again, so you'll have to fix it then. But I told her, look, you should probably fix it now, because if that student transfers to another district, they want to be aware that the student is a student with disabilities as soon as they enroll. You don't want to wait on that data. So I told her to go ahead and fix it now.
Good answer. Moving on to Laura, 303. We also have CRDC, aside from fall 2, really trying, and she got a fair amount of support on that with a few thumbs up on it.
Yeah, Alex shared that with us this week, that the deadlines kind of bump right up against each other. So we're feeling for you. We know that one's kind of a beast.
All right, moving on to Ginny, 304, Q1. Is there any update to problem 6758? SELA ODS extract includes the entire ELAS history?
Yes, ignore that. It's working fine. It's a long story, but the one that's the legacy extract that's in there now is working. So yes, you can use the SELA extract.
Great. All right. Claudia, 305, Q1. We have a special ed moderate to severe in an independent study medical class. How should I tag that section? 300 for medical, 700 for special ed. The teacher servicing the student is a special ed teacher. I believe the hierarchy on those is special ed, then home and hospital, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're correct, Paul. And also, since the teacher has a sped credential, yeah, it should be tagged sped, because that's what they're going to see first.
Okay. All right. Moving on to Nelissa, 306, Q1. Any updates on cert 48/cert 84?
Yes, we had a breakthrough on that one. So it looks like we have a fix for that one on Tuesday. Fingers crossed.
Woo. All right, going down to Wendy at 307, Q1. Do LEAs need to upload an exit date at the end of the school year and a new start date at the beginning of the school year for 504 plan records for students who are continuing enrollment at the same school or district? Okay, so the data guide has a whole discussion behind this, and it boils down to this. The 504 plan has to be reviewed every year. And you can keep it open, but the only way to really show the world that you've reviewed it is to close it and reopen it, unless you're keeping really good notes on the back end, but to visually see it.
Hold on.
What?
Alex has it up on the screen. It says they should not be closed.
Well, we've had, every time we have this discussion, we do this. We have the discussion of don't close it except for, and then we create a list of all the exceptions, and then we go, well, maybe just close it. So
I would go by what the data guide says. I think you're right. It does. We should, evaluate every year. But and Sean, do you have any input? Do you think does the data guide need to be updated?
I don't think the data guide needs to be updated in this instance. I have a quick question for, was it Wendy?
Wendy, 307. Q1, do LEAs need to upload an exit date for the end of the school year and a new date for the beginning of the school year for 504 plan records for students who are continuing enrollment at the same school and district?
Okay, so Wendy, I have a quick question. What SIS system are you using? And then now let me answer the question. So no, they should be evaluated each year, and that's going to be through your child welfare and attendance monitor. At minimum, yes, they should be reviewed each year. Do you have to close those program records out? Unless the student is leaving your LEA, then that record should be closed out. And we say that right there in that last column. Yes, thank you. Okay. I'm sorry, we're saying if the accommodations are no longer eligible, then they should be closed out. Yes, in CalPads is what we're saying. However, you want to know if that student is eligible once they return. And again, that should be tracked first and foremost in your local system. And I don't see which SIS system you're using. I see people responding to you, but I don't see which SIS system you're using. I am going to say if you use Aries.
She does use Aries. She just responded.
There you go. Please place these records at your district level. Okay, when you place them at your district level, that means you don't insert the school portion there. Then it will automatically move with the student and update the record then. Okay, so a lot of times people run into this problem with Aries because they put it at the school level, and then when you go and you rerun your program ODS extracts in your system, it gives you like this list that is conflicting. It's conflicting because it's then picking up your CDS codes on your back end. Okay. So again, the way to fix that and then be able to just send up the new record with it that's going to match that LEA is to leave that school section blank in Aries.
All righty. Thank you. I appreciate that Aries tutorial.
No problem. I had to learn that one the hard way.
Moving on to Charlene at 302 Q1. We are trying to not use the 60-20 non-classroom based job assignment, but it's not always easy. What will be a good replacement for 6017 resource teacher and 0224 sped program specialist, both expired in 1819? In addition, what is a good combo for CEA president? We used 1260 in previous years.
Paul, I answered that. If you would expand, the 6017 is a non-classroom job code. For RSPs, you should report a class for them. It's not a non-classroom job classification. So you should report a 9231 or any SPED-related state course code associated to that itinerant teacher.
Thank you. And then the top portion of the question, though, for 6020, Charlene, I just responded back to your ticket too. You asked this in a ticket. I just responded back literally either as we were wrapping up this meeting and Marshall was letting me in.
All right, perfect. Fabiola, CQ2. Elena, 310 Q1. Is team teaching meant for co-teachers?
That's a good question. Now I can't remember. And it's like I want to have typically answers like the answer like right on.
Oh, wait. Alex has
I'm
team
going
teaching
no.
and job sharing up there. So
Yeah.
it's team teaching is 2 or more teachers providing instruction in the class during the entire class session. The job sharing would be 2 or more teachers providing instruction in class alternating basis and not at the same time. So there's the distinction. So apply that.
Yeah. Pick one of these. Thanks, Alex.
All right. Let's see. Fabiola, 304 Q1. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Fabiola. Our LEA had a vacancy on census day. We had, as a teacher of record, a long-term sub. The employee has a SEED and an emergency 30-day substitute credential. Is it accurate that we are reporting the substitute as the teacher of record with a non-classroom based assignment of 6014, day-to-day substitute teacher, permanent employee? And will it be considered a misassignment?
Byron answered it in the chat.
Yes, he did. Kyron, would you like to expand on that, or do you just want me to read your answer?
Let me find it. It's hard to scroll up. I've already moved on. Essentially, if you have, so number one, if there is a vacancy, of course, you report the substitute teacher. So there's a common misconception where we say long term is associated to a day-to-day permanent sub. This could be two different things, but if they are a day-to-day permanent sub, then it's it's also an option that you add that 6014 as a non-classroom job assignment code. But with regards to them to reporting the teacher, you have to report them to the class that they are designated as teacher of record.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Kyron. All right, going down, I have Sarah 314 Q1. I am having a hard time getting the necessary data from staff for fall 2. We have a lot of new people, including myself, and we have made multiple requests. I cannot resolve my errors without it. Any suggestions?
Contact your HR department because they should have all of the necessary staff information. There should be some type of form with them that they're submitting when applying for jobs. And then Alex does have it up on the screen though too. The generic seed of all 9s, please know that generic seed though will cause an exception for CalSAT automatically.
Okie dokie. Moving on to Mary 318 Q1 regarding user management for the LEA assigned users. How do we delete an LEA assigned user that is no longer in our LEA? I can delete the organization, but I don't see a delete for the user overall. Let's see. Can we delete a user, or is it just disabling them? I don't recall. It's been a while since I've had to do that with anyone.
Yeah, in the user management section of the user manual, there is a way to you can delete them. You can just, for some reason, the email, the account would just be floating in the CalPads realm. But for you to take it out from your organization, you just have to either remove the roles or at the bottom, scroll down, or just click on the delete button, and that should remove them from your organization. Now, if you try to search for their email address in CalPads, it might show up still, but that's something that's a CalPads issue.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, it's a feature.
All right. Moving on. Let's see. Marshall at 313 posted a question from the Q&A before he was able to disable it. All right, so unknown user posted a question in Q&A. I have a current ticket with CalPads regarding a PSTS cohort data. The response was that we can change it online maintenance, but we are not seeing it anywhere. Can you show me where this can be updated in CalPads, or can this only be done in areas and uploaded to CalPads?
Well, what date? What time stamp are we at?
313 from Marshall.
Our Marshall?
So I responded to that. If they are not able to see, normally if you search for the student's SSID, you should be able to see the post-secondary status section within student details. If you're not able to see that section, then you don't have the rows assigned to you. So you may want to check with your LA admin on that. But you could certainly add and delete or modify PSTS records that already exist in CalPads.
Great, Karen. Thank you. Leah at 322 Q1 for the DDs, should they show the same type of errors that would be shown during the certification periods as CDDs? I had some fall 2 cert errors that never populated in the DDs.
If
So
it started with cert, CERT, they'll never show up on this screen, but all the rest should have. And I don't see the question, Paul. Did they say it was a CDD specifically that didn't show up on the DD screen?
no, they did say it was a cert error that never populated on the DDs. So yeah, that distinction exists. Cert errors only exist in the submission. So when you're looking at the certification status right there, where Alex is pointing on the screen, the data discrepancies or CDDs are a separate process, and she's pointing to it right there, and we're up on that screen. And the data discrepancies run outside of the submission refresh process. So you can run this right now for the fall 1, fall 2, whatever, or whatever submission, and then say apply filters, and for the CDDs and DDs that are the data discrepancies that have been created and released, it will run them for you. That said, there are still DDs and CDDs that have not been created yet. We are still working on those. Those are going to be the end of year ones. You can't really run end of year because they don't exist yet. If you do run it, nothing's going to happen. But they do exist separately, and the data discrepancies run outside of that submission refresh. So this can happen multiple times before your submission refreshes. So all those cert errors are going to be static, but when you open up your certification screen and you're looking at it and you see a DD like the CINT 453 like up on the screen, if you have already fixed that data and it's no longer appearing here in the data discrepancies, when you click on it on the submission on that certification screen, it's going to return no results. And you're going to go, CalPads is broken again. Hate them. It's actually a good thing because it's trying to pull that error, but the data has been fixed in the background, so it's finding nothing. So now you're just waiting for that snapshot to refresh to a new revised uncertified where those CDDs will be removed. All right. Ray 313, how do we get an SC/SE record to post if a course is tied to a school that is the student's school primary enrollment, but took a remote class? I get the error GER5, the student must be enrolled in the school of attendance during the academic year specified. Okay, so I'm assuming that a neighboring school. You're in school A, we'll call it school B. They're down the street and they offer a class that you don't. So your student says, hey, I want to go take that class down at school B. So you say, hey, that's a great idea. You go take that class at school B. Now you try and report it, but they're not enrolled there in CalPads. So now you're trying to report data at a school they're not enrolled at. That's why you're getting the GER5. If the other school wants to put in a secondary enrollment, they could upload that course, but it is not required. And because it's a secondary enrollment, it will never show up on any reports. So I think that covered it all. Did anybody have anything to add to that one? Okay. Lisa 327 Q exclamation point Q1. Is there a recommended time frame for submitting enrollment of a student to CalPads? I see that the guide says a student who is no longer enrolled should be exited within 14 days. What about the entry? If you read the data guide, front to back, there's a reference in there to CalPads should never be more than 14 days out of date.
Huh.
So you should be uploading data on a regular basis to keep it updated. Whether that's SENR data, SIMP data, program data, whatever it is, it should be going up on a regular basis. So that student should have enrolled at your school, and within 14 calendar days, they should be in CalPads. I would recommend sooner than that, but I'm not running your school. I have no idea what your workload is, and I cannot dictate that.
Also, both the exit and the enrollment are in that same file, the SENR. So you don't have to split that up. And so they should both be in there when you're sending that one file up.
We had problems with that, remember?
I did, but I thought we fixed it.
Yeah.
I saw Alex's face after I said it. Like as I was saying, she was like, "Oh."
Well, I know at least Aries had to break down their SENR files so that exits were just one file, updates were in another, and then deletes were a whole different one. So they are.
Yeah, but in our process, it's still like they give you, and Jan's on the call, but in the process though, they tell you which one to send up first, but you're still sending them all up. Like not together, but you're sending them up. Jan, Clark, this is wrong. Please.
All right, moving on to ASIA 329 Q1. Can a student with a 504 be enrolled in a direct studies course with a 700 SPED instructional strategy?
What timestamp is that?
That is 329 ASIA.
I believe the answer is yes, from what I heard.
I think with the new validation where it's going to trigger an error if there's a student that is not a student with disabilities, doesn't have a meet record in a section that has a 700.
They'll get the 640 error.
Thank you, Gary. 640.
All right. Miguel, 330 Q1. Good afternoon. Our food services director was referencing a March 14th deadline from CalPads CDE for a PEBT card deadline, but I have not received any notification about this. I was wondering if there was information that was sent out earlier or some communication I may have missed. Any clarification would be greatly appreciated. And Thor did answer. He says, I believe the last PEBT version 4.0 ended last year, but you can refer to CDSS's PEBT website.
Thanks,
All right.
Thor.
All right, moving on. Kevin, 331 Q1. How do we code emergency TK permits in CalPads? And Nate responded with a link to CTC's credential assignment resource, emergency transitional kindergarten permit, FAQ. So perfect. Thanks, Nate. All right, Kevin, I see you Q2. Shelley, 301. Oh, wait a minute. We've done that one. So there's just more talk on that one. Grr. My screen flips and I'm trying to find it again here. Okay. That is the person that is not responding. All right. All right. Time frames. Good afternoon. Services director. All right. I'm going to say we've hit the bottom and I'm going to go back up to the top. And we're going to start going down and hitting all the Q2s and above. And Q2 at 302 from Sinoon. Q2 regarding the post-high school credential question. If a student responds none of the above, should it be left blank? I think one of the what were the expected values on that survey? Alex, can you pull up that survey? I believe we have it
That's-
in the user manual. Survey there, the CTE data survey. There it is. All right.
I thought it's just the student didn't respond.
Okay, is that? Can you go back up, up a little bit farther, a little bit farther, a little bit farther. Right there, stop. If the above options apply, check the following. None of the above. Okay, so number 7. If none of the above options apply, check one of the following. None of the options apply, or I decline to respond. So there's that. All right, so let's see if those exist in CalPads. I'm not seeing anything that says nothing applies here. So I guess that would be other. Well,
we have
950
the
or
map.
960, Paul?
What's that?
950 or 960?
Well, not able to contact is different than does not apply, and the other option is refuse to answer. So we're missing an option there of nothing applies.
They
There's
didn't
the
change the
other.
survey this year.
There's the other. It's not employed, not in further education or training, and not in the military.
Okay, well, that doesn't sound a lot like does not apply to me. You know, that
Yeah,
sounds
I
like
know.
another answer.
I know.
Maybe I'm just being difficult. Who knows? So to answer your question, let's see. If a student responds none of the above, should it be left blank? What should the mapping be for does not apply? Should it be other, or should it be, because they did answer, so it's not refused to answer.
Yeah, there
Isn't
is
there a
a
required field though?
Yeah,
They have to put something in.
no, it's showing blank though, because it does say next to each one of those has a code. And so if it's none of the above, then it looks like it's left blank.
All righty then.
If you go back to the actual survey, Alex, it's question number 9. Like where it's being left blank, where it says none of the above. But yours doesn't have the ones that it's tied to. Let me find the link because I created it with David, and then I'll put it in there for this year's. Yeah, there you go. Why didn't it show before? I didn't know. See how it's left blank though there, Alex? So I believe our direction said for it to be left blank then.
All right, so there you go.
Well, this is for field 1715, right?
Yes. For the none of the above, was that?
This is this one. But I thought that what we were answering was this. Whether, oh, I don't know. I thought we were
Yeah,
talking
if
about
it's
the
that one,
code.
that's a required field. If it's the other one, that's a not required. We just got to determine which field it is.
Yeah, so is it on 1712?
Oh, no, I'm rereading the question. I think it is the post high. It's the one, yeah, it's the one, Sean, you're talking about.
Regarding post high school credential question.
Yeah, and that's not required, so.
Okay. Okay, then cool. I don't feel bad that I didn't write it wrong. Ben, thank you. was like, wait, did I mess up? I was like, that's been out there for like 3 weeks now.
All right, so all good. If it does not apply, just leave it blank.
On the actual survey, we put the codes on there, so they're matched up to the codes for which answers you should write, if that helps anyone.
All right, I'm scrolling down the list looking for Q2s. All right, Q2, Fabiola 308. Our LEA has a Cert 51 warning for all of our schools, pupil services staff assignment missing. We currently report to CalPads all of our pupil services staff at the LEA level. Would it be best practice if we broke down their assignments and percentages for each school?
I don't know if we have documentation on this, but I'm pretty positive that I've heard Randy before saying yes. It's much more helpful for the state to know what services are being provided to students at each school rather than just the lump at the district. I just don't know where that is in writing.
All right, well, that's a starting place at least, right?
I don't even know what the question was or the timestamp because I feel like my chat box is just all over the place. I finally found Thor's answer and I was like, oh yeah. I was like, she said PEBT. I was like, yep, Thor's right.
Well, this one is at 308 from Fabiola. And it's Q2 discussing the Cert 51. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with Alex's statement that it makes more sense to have the granular data, showing where the pupil services are rather than just showing them at one localized location in a district. And you want to know if they're at multiple schools or just at the district. So I would say break them up by school. All right, moving on. We're looking for Q2s and above.
So why are they not at their district level? For Fabiola's question. If they're missing an assignment, you can put them at your district level. You don't have to put them at your local level. But again, that would I would strongly, Fabiola, connect with your HR and credentialing department to know what those actual job duties and like locations state for your staff members. Sometimes they'll specifically state like that person, is located at the district office or so. And then sometimes, they'll say, oh, they're sectioned off by like regional schools or so if your LEA chooses to do so. And then exactly which schools, if they're regions within your LEA, then you know which schools to disperse them to.
All right. Let's see. Looks like 346. I missed a Q1 and Stephanie's reminding me. Do we have an update on known issue 6770, the demographic search error?
He hasn't reported on that one in a while. Are you still getting that error? The tickets kind of died down, I want to say sometime last week, because I know the developer was working on that hit and miss, Stephanie says. And that's good info. Thank you. I will report that out tomorrow.
All right, thank you. And she also has a Q2. Is there still an issue with the ERD report? All right, so up we have ERD reviewed indicator does not filter.
That one's really old.
Yeah, it is. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I don't know if that's the issue she's having, but
Yeah. This sounds like a UI situation, not the report.
Well, we have an ERD bug, but it's very old. If you're experiencing something different, let us know, please.
Alex, is there a Visual Studio bug number on there?
Oh, yeah. 56920.
I was curious where it is in the queue. It's in the generic backlog as active. But is that the problem the user's having?
sure.
We're not sure. Oh, wait a minute. Came back in. We cannot get it to run. I will submit a ticket with the error.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
All
That's
right.
helpful.
Eric at 351 Q1. I created a ticket back on 2-1 and have not heard anything back from support. The case issue 302098. I have a teacher in our middle school, grade 6 to 8, that is teaching geometry. The local course number. The course code shows max. Okay, well, we'll take a look and see if we can't find that and see what's going on.
Repeat the number one more time.
302098.
I think we've been sending those up to your team, Sean.
I think so, but we didn't get this one. I was looking at it too.
Oh, it's not up to you yet.
Yeah, I'm picking it up now.
Okay, thanks.
Eric, I'll get back to you.
Well, Kevin had a Q2 at 334. I'm not sure if you missed that one or
Probably. What time was it? You said 332?
334. I know it bounces
334.
all over the place.
All right, 324, 330. 1, 6. Goodness. I will get back to it, I guess. All right, give me a minute. Let's see.
It's Kevin Jesse at Tulare County, 334.
All right. No. Jimmy Christmas. You know, if they just stop having this thing bounce around and
I
just
know.
remain one
So
simple
timestamps are
chronography.
all over the place.
Or at least add a search feature.
Yeah.
Right?
You want me just to read it?
Would
Yeah.
you? Yeah,
Yes.
please.
It's Q2 from Kevin. How do we access SPED snapshot reports in CalPads for years prior to this year? The prior years are not showing up as an option to select. We are trying to pull the data for civil rights reports. So if you go to the certification screens, you can select previous academic years and then select your submission, and the reports from past years will be there.
Kevin's at the SELPA, Alex.
Oh,
And this is how you collect all reports, not just the SELPA reports, everyone, just because we do realize that you're reviewing for CRDC information, and especially for SPED reports, mind you that those reports have changed. So you're not, you're not seeing the current reports, so to pull the past reports. And then in the user manual, we also have which reports to replace the other one, right? Or like at the bottom, it'll note the beginning, like 22, 23 years, and plus to say this is what report is reflecting that. And then prior years, it'll say it underneath.
All right, thanks, Sean. Moving on to Larney at 347 Q1. on the multiple identifier resolution screen, MID, what does the disposition ready, canceled, and posted mean? We have been receiving notifications from ETS, CASP, LPAC regarding the report that they pull showing possible MIDs. Do we know what report they're pulling? Would CalPads admin verifying the mid resolution screen be the correct steps we have to take to confirm that we don't have mids? And it looks like
Yes.
Thor. Okay, it looks
Thank
like Thor
you.
responded back as well.
Yes, it was like Thor's been working on this
Hmm.
diligently. So ETS has sent out notices to LEAs. Thor, I don't know if Bob sent out a listing. I thought we did the last time to the specific LEAs, just in case that mid isn't on your report and you need to correct that information. And if anyone sees a reply from Thor in there, please yell out because I don't know. Considering the fact that Gary read the last question, I think like it's just all over the place. I don't know.
Let's see. So Thor's answer to this was, hi, Larnie, it was us, CalPads operations office, that provided the MIDS report to ETS. You can find more information about the MIDS resolution anomalies page on the user manual here. And it's a link to, yeah, I think it's a link to our
Yay. We may have written that one together. Really late.
There's also 2 ODS Fall 1 MIDS reports that you can view, 9.1 and 9.2. So that was Thor's response.
Thank you. So in lieu of the mid reports, review 9.1 and 9.2.
All right, moving on to Rebecca, 4 o'clock. She's asking PowerSchool users, how do you deal with files that partially post, then you have to re-extract the file to start over? Example, AU1 file passes, but AU2 fails. And there's a couple of responses in there for her, so that's a good thing. Stella at 401 Q1, what are the odds that with over 10 high priority known issues with the fall 2 that were impacting the data on the reports that our LEA is supposed to verify, that there might be an extension to the deadline? I'm not expecting an answer as I know what the party line is, just wanted to throw that out there.
With hopefully the reports being corrected fairly quickly by Tuesday, then are we in consideration of moving the all one deadline back? And the answer is no.
Okie dokie. And with that, we have come crashing into 4 o'clock and passed through it by 4 minutes. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it very much. It's a very good Q&A, nice conversation back and forth. If you need anything before the next Q&A, please open a CalPad service desk ticket so we can get your question answered as quickly as possible. And if nothing else, we will see you back here next week. Have a great time.
Thank you, everyone.
Good job, guys.
Eric, I'm not going to call you. I'm going to respond to your ticket, though. But thanks for squeezing that in there. 404.
Okay, I got it from here, guys.